Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders Without podcast. I have an incredible guest for you, a true leader with a heart, an enlightened soul, my new good friend, Deb King from beautiful Sydney, Australia. She's on a wonderful mission. She's the co-founder of a community called the Wisdom Playground. We're helping people to uh, you're co-creating their best possible future, helping people to create impactful businesses and just being the best version of themselves. We're going to talk about that in a moment. So she has a lot to share with us. We had an amazing chat just before going live for about almost 45 minutes. Incredible human being, and that's one thing I love about this podcast is the connection that it allows me with incredible human being. So, Deb, my friend, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Payman. I'm delighted to chat with you. I'm sure we could chat for days, but it's great
Oh,
to
yes.
let's see what comes out of this conversation.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Honor is mine. So before we start, tell us who is Deb for people that don't know you.
Who's Deb? Oh, that's a big question, isn't it?
Yes.
I am a bundle of love and light and joy, and very passionate about uplifting others, for them to see their brilliance, for them to love themselves fully, and to have some fun and play together, and really kind of, as we say, co-create our best possible future. It is time to focus on what our hearts truly want, rather than all the stuff we don't want. Let's put more focus and energy into creating what we truly want. So I'm just one of those humans that are focused in that way.
Amazing. Love that. And as I told you before going live, sure, we're going to talk about your professional achievements, which are tremendous. But what I'm most interested in is to have a heart to heart conversation. So we'll start with those. So tell us, Deb, what makes you happy?
What makes me personally happy is focusing on things that I can appreciate, which is so many things. In every moment, there's always something to appreciate. I absolutely am inspired by nature and music. And even as I mentioned to you this morning, I was speaking with some incredible humans doing such inspiring work in the social impact space. There are so many people doing incredible, fabulous things to uplift humanity, and projects that are so inspiring and are in process. Like I that's why I'm passionate about shining the light on them, because I think in general a lot of people are seeing the media and not seeing any of the real stuff that's happening. That's awesome. It's really, really good. So
Love that.
so many things make me happy. My family, I think happiness is something I've been on an inquiry my whole life, and there was a time where I was searching externally for it. That's not where you find it. And what I've learned is that, you know, it's just, there's so many things that in any moment we can choose to allow it to be happy. It's something that doesn't have to have conditions. We can choose unconditional happiness. It is a choice though, and it's an ongoing choice and journey and practice rather than a destination.
Love that.
I
Wow.
call
We're going to
myself
talk.
a happiness ambassador, actually.
That's the best title I've heard. That's the best title I've heard. Wow. That's amazing. I'm going to write this down. Happiness ambassador. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Love that. Do you mind if I use
Mhm.
that as well?
Please, let's welcome everyone to be happiness ambassadors. I
Oh,
mean, I feel that's why we're here on this planet in this human existence, is to
amen.
follow our bliss and experience all the amazing things to experience, and let go of the judgment so we can actually enjoy it all and be happy.
I
Right.
love that. Wow. Amazing. So we're going to talk about it in a moment, but let's ask a few more questions about the actual person that you are. What makes you smile?
Most things. I'm a pretty smiley person. I love to laugh. And
I noticed that.
yeah.
You have a very contagious laugh and smile. Yes, yes.
Thank you. So, wow, what makes me smile? I definitely love good music. I love laughing. I love memes, funny memes. How good are they, especially in lockdown? Uh,
Oh yes.
I love kids, my nieces, other friends' kids, other kids. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, 4-year-olds, particularly 4-year-olds.
Yes, the first 4 years are the most sweetest years. Yes,
and
I agree.
and yeah, so many things. I think even I love to have conversations with people. Well, one of my girlfriend's daughters, she reached out to me. She's so amazing. She's had an incredible life already at, like, she's only 22. But we're in lockdown here in Sydney, and it's a struggle for her. And she actually, her reaching out to me just absolutely made me so happy because I could help her. And she's just transformed everything. And after a very quick conversation, that that really is like, that happened. I had a second conversation with her last night, and I'm just really still smiling over that. So
Wow,
many things make me
amazing.
smile.
That's beautiful. Now, what makes you come alive?
Ooh, what makes me come alive? That's exciting. Definitely, I love to dance. Music and
Mm,
dancing are huge for me. Um, I also come alive, like, I am inspired by all the people playing with us in the Wisdom Playground. They are just such incredible humans, and knowing that each person they touch, the ripple effect is just so profound that it's like
mhm.
amazing. Even like our conversation today makes me come alive. So I think everything is
Yes.
has that potential, plus yummy food.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
The food that makes me want to dance as I eat it.
I have a love-hate relationship with food. I love eating, but then I have to, slave away for 2 hours biking just to, burn it. So whenever, just like what I told you earlier, I don't look at when I look at the business, I don't look at the money. I look at the impact. Whenever I'm looking at a dish of food, I'm looking, okay, that looks yummy, but how long do I have to be on a bike to burn it? How long do I have to burn
Oh,
it?
wow. Okay. But
That
lucky you
burger
like
looks.
to ride for a while, right?
Oh,
You
I
like to
love
go on
that.
long rides, so
Oh
it's
yeah,
okay. It's
we live in a
okay.
small city outside of Toronto. Like I love going, to almost to the next town and all that. Even in the small, it's a very residential area inside the small, circles and all that. Streets, absolutely amazing. But yeah, wow. So that's amazing. So tell me now, what makes you sad and angry?
Hmm. I think it's very sad when people have no hope, or they're disadvantaged, or they're kind of treating other people badly, um, or even not seeing how amazing they are. That's really a real bummer.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, everyone actually has so many gifts and talents, and we're all here for a reason. If we're here on the planet right now, there is like probably likely that you have some value to add, So
Absolutely,
if anyone is kind of feeling like lost or not realizing that they're amazing, that's sad.
absolutely, absolutely.
But there's many things you can focus on in the world that really
Hmm.
can absolutely
Oh yeah,
break our hearts, like what we were saying in Afghanistan, and so many things.
yeah.
A friend's dad was healthy, going for a walk, and got hit by a cyclist, funnily enough,
Oh
and
no.
he's now in hospital in a majorly
Wow,
damaged
sorry
way.
to hear
That's
that.
sad. Like,
Wow.
it's such an unfortunate accident. Like, stuff happens in life that is tough,
Oh
and
yeah,
its
wow.
sadness is an emotion that's valid, like all emotions. And
Absolutely.
mm, so
It
yes,
is,
yeah,
that's for sure. And that's why one of the reasons I don't watch the news anymore. I mean, I heard someone once told me that if something is important, you will know about it from people around you. So
true.
don't waste your time just watching the news. It's gonna make your blood get boiled. It's gonna raise your pressure. But for what?
It's
You
very
have no control over that. So there's no reason. Instead, focus on what you can control, which is your business, your life, your health, your family. And if something is really important, you will know about it. And
Yeah,
that's my
it's so
philosophy.
true.
Hmm.
The watching the media is actually very depressing.
That's
And
exactly it.
it's very hypnotic. And I think that it's actually quite dangerous for people to spend a lot of time doing that,
I
because what
really
we
feel
focus
bad.
on we get more of, right? So it's so
Absolutely.
great to hear, you know, you're a very powerful, successful guy, and I'm not surprised you remove yourself from that stuff so you can stay focused on what's important. That's absolutely
We
such a
have to.
powerful thing to do.
It's almost become like a necessity nouadays. Otherwise, it's, just like you said, it's going to get into a spiral of negativity, and negativity breeds more negativity, and you will feel like slouch, no energy, depressed, no motivation. So we have to. It's a must.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
totally get it.
So what scares you?
What scares me? It's a great question. Wow. This one's an
Spiders,
interesting
the
one.
dark. I actually had a lady from
Yeah.
Australia not long ago. And she said, "Oh, the spiders, and they're a handful." You know, she mentioned that.
It's interesting because one of the wisdom teachers I hang out with, she's an animal communicator, and knowing that actually if I did come across a spider that was like, you know, I don't know if I would, like, it's easy to say, I'd like to think that I could maybe talk to it rather than get scared of it. But yeah, I I think it's I'm human. I get scared about lots of things.
Mhm.
I'm sort of adventurous, but there's tons of things that I'm not like super
Mhm.
adventurous about. I wouldn't like to necessarily go camping all by myself, or, you know, different adventures that some people are like just amazing at. I don't have a desire to climb incredibly high mountains, or I think I might be afraid of heights in some ways,
Mm.
but I'm okay. I'm not like there's people who are super afraid of it, and I could do some of it, but I wouldn't necessarily feel that comfortable in, you know. So there's probably the spectrum of different things that I'm adventurous in some ways, and a risk taker in many ways, but I'm also afraid of a lot of stuff as well. So yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one. Now, tell us, what is your personal superpower?
Mm.
I'm sure you
Well,
have quite a few, but what would be the main one?
okay. Well, can I say one that's not the main one, but it just was the first one that came to mind, was I'm
Absolutely.
actually have a superpower for fridge organization. Now,
Ooh, now that's a
I'm
unique
not the
one.
most, I'm not the best, I'm not even the best organized person. But when it comes to a fridge, I can fit so much stuff in there more than the average person. I'm really, really good at it. And I think it is a superpower. And I think it comes from the fact that my dad was a scout and he taught me how to pack suitcases really well. And I transferred that skill into fridge organization. So that is one of my superpowers.
That might be something you might want to monetize. Believe you me, don't laugh. Don't laugh. You
Yeah,
can do a video and you can, or give it as a freebie to
yeah,
people in your group. You know,
a
that could be.
freebie. Freebie. Yeah. I think my superpower is actually having people really feel uplifted after,
Mhm.
better than how they felt before they talk to me. By the end, they feel better. That's a superpower.
And if I may add one more superpower, I just noticed since I talked to you, you have an incredible, beautiful, warm smile and laugh that's absolutely contagious. So please shine. I am begging you, keep shining your keep wearing your smile proudly all the time. You know, because it's absolutely
Thank you.
contagious. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. All right, let me ask you now some fun questions. You know, when we're kids, people always ask us, parents, families, relatives. So, Deb, what do you want to become when you grow up? So, what was your answer back then when you were kids in primary school or middle school? People ask you, so what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer back then?
Yeah, it's a great question. One of my areas that I have a lot of room for improvement is my memory. So I don't remember heaps, but I know that I remember at the end of high school where we were talking about where we'd be in X
Mhm.
amount of years or whatever. And I didn't know. And I wrote that. But what's interesting, I became a life coach in 2003.
Oh,
And
wow.
that didn't exist when I was at school. So it was really interesting to kind of reflect on that. But I do think I maybe wanted to be a dancer, pop star or something. I don't know. I actually, at one point I wanted to be a rapper, like Salt and Pepper.
Ooh, you got the moves, huh? You got the moves, girl. Show us. Come on, Deb. You want a microphone? I give you
No,
the microphone.
that's still a work in progress.
All right, all right. That would be for the we'll do a follow up on that. That's your
Yes,
homework.
the follow up.
All
Okay,
right.
you're on.
Cool. Awesome. So, thinking back of when you were a kid in school, what was your favorite subject?
Favorite subject. Hmm.
Making your
I
memory
think
muscle work.
that yeah. I think I really loved. I've always loved anything people focused. I'm not really a task person. I can chat with people. I'm a people hang out with people. I enjoyed in primary school playing sport. We played softball at school, and we also played in on the weekend in a team outside of school as well, and we were really good. So it's always nice when you're good at something, and
Oh yeah.
team sport, that was really fun. I really liked in high school maths because the teacher was good. I think for me, my liking of different subjects was very much driven by the teachers. I did not have a good English teacher, and I really didn't like English. And then I think, had I had a different teacher, that could have been a different story. So, because I love communication. And so it's an interesting thing. But yeah, I would say sport, softball at primary
Oh wow.
school, and
Yeah,
maths
nice.
in high school.
Wow. Funny you said that. The role of the teacher is huge. I had the exact opposite. I had a wonderful English teacher, but an awful, or maybe not awful, a very strict math teacher that completely turned me away from math. And as a result, that was in grade 6. As a result, I was never had any interest in math. So
And it's really interesting
mhm,
that the influence of the teacher.
big time,
Wow. Even
big
hearing
time.
that, especially you're like doing maths as a businessman all the time. Like you're actually, I'm guessing, quite good at it.
Well, I had to learn it, but it wasn't
Yeah,
easy.
yeah,
Just between me
yeah,
and you, I had to take accounting twice in college, but that's between me and you.
yeah. I did accounting in the first year. I did a Bachelor of Commerce, and in our first year of accounting, I got
Mm.
55 out of
Oh
100, and that
wow.
was a pass. And I was like, okay, that's okay. I probably
All
would have
right.
been better if I studied and did well, but
Yes, exactly. For me, it's not I wasn't studying, it's just that I was bored to death. I couldn't pay
yeah,
attention, you
yeah,
know? It was almost like
it's a
Chinese to
big
me.
part of it.
Okay. Exactly.
Now they have things like Khan Academy where you can actually make those things so much more interesting as well, online learning. So I think it's
Absolutely.
luckily that there's some people who have embraced teaching that in a much more fun way.
Mhm. And what would you say was the subject you could not stand in school?
What could I not stand? I'm very good at shutting out the things that I don't like. They're a hard
That's
question
an
to me.
amazing life skill.
What did I not like? Hmm. Hmm. I can't even remember.
History, maybe, you know?
History. Definitely history. Yeah.
Really? Wow. Okay. I
Definitely.
just
Yeah. No, yeah, you tuned in. You tuned in. It was history because I was so not interested. I do get, as we get older, some of us
Mhm.
start to like, it becomes more interesting. There's more of a relevance or a kind of a deeper deeper connection to it. So I
Yeah.
am more interested in history now than I was when I was young. Absolutely, you're right. I did not like history at all.
Yeah.
Not interested. Yeah. So good reminder. Thank you.
Well, I just came to mind. It's funny because I personally I love history. It was one of my favorite subjects in school, especially history
Interesting.
and geography, because I had always this desire to travel and learn about the world from as young as I can remember. But for me, what I really couldn't stand was math and science. So
Mm, yeah. Yeah. I also love to travel and was lucky
Mm-hmm.
that got exposed to that quite young and got the bug quite young and
Mm-hmm.
have had many travels. I mean, not as many as you, Payman. You've got like an incredible um, traveling experience of the countries you've been to, but I absolutely love travel and I quite liked geography. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't think I really wasn't a studier. I just was a show up and,
I never
you know,
studied geography. The way I learned about
yeah.
geography is, as I told you, football is my passion. I learned it through geography,
Ah,
especially living in Europe, through the sport, the team. So where is that team? Where is that team? Where is this? Where is this? That's how I never
yeah.
studied. I never studied geography, but I knew where that was because of the teams and all that.
And so cool to be in Europe where there's so many countries all so close to each other. I mean, I grew up in Australia. We're so
Hmm.
far from anywhere, any other culture, or it's a long haul flight to anywhere. So yeah, very interesting.
Hmm. Now let's move forward to if you look at your path from the moment you left school to now, how would you describe your path? Would you say once you got into one line, was it straight, smooth sailing all the way, or was it twist and turn, and all that? So, how would you describe your path so far?
Yes, I would describe my path as unconventional and totally not straight path.
Was it more fun?
Yes. Well, that's what I was focused on. I actually wanted to have fun and
Exactly.
I like to see other people having fun. So my casual jobs were in hospitality. I worked in restaurants and bars and things like that. My parents had their own business, so I'd had an exposure to that.
Hmm.
And then at university, I studied commerce marketing, got a promotions role, a national promotions manager role in a media company, and then went over to London and
Nice.
ended up staying in London for 6 years. And I did everything over there from, I worked in a record company on the reception. I worked in nightclubs. I started on the bar. I became a bouncer. Then I became a
Whoa,
nightclub manager.
you've had quite an interesting and colorful life as well.
So yeah, nightclub manager and licensee of a couple of some big clubs in London.
Nice.
And yeah, very different, not straight path. Because then eventually I came back to Australia to become a life coach and went on a huge personal development, entrepreneurial development journey
Hmm.
of coaching and training and networking, business networks, and all sorts of different things that are very different to that life prior.
Amazing. So you mentioned something that you said you started getting into becoming a life coach back in 2003 when that was not even quite popular. So how was it getting into a field is brand new? So tell us about how was it? What were the challenges that you faced and the opportunities that you saw back then? And why did you get in the first
Yeah.
place into that field of all? Why did you get into something that didn't even exist?
Yeah, well, because I was on that happiness inquiry and I was a
Mhm.
party animal, so I was like in London, crazy party animal, really. And eventually, after many years of that lifestyle, realized I wanted to do some other things, and I started to look within. I liked partying, but I'm thinking there's other stuff to do, and so when I reflect back, I think I was just searching externally for happiness, and that's not where you find it. So the life coaching had come up in a couple of different ways while I was still living in London and when I'd come back to Sydney to visit. And then things happened in London where the job that I had, a week before that job ended, I lost my mobile phone. And so all my contacts were on that phone that
Wow.
I had not backed up. and
Yeah, back then there
and
was no such thing. Yeah.
yeah. and and then it was like, oh, I'd also split with my boyfriend and like all these things happened that was a sign to go, it's time for a change. And I
And
decided
restart.
I'm going to start this life coaching thing, not really knowing what it was, but I just had this intuitive feeling for it. And I decided to return to Australia to do it rather than do it there. And I was very naive. I thought, oh, we'll do it. And I did know a lot of people hadn't heard of it, but I just thought it'd be easy to get clients. And it was a different journey to learn how to create a business and that it wasn't necessarily easy to get clients. And now actually our business is a big passion on having more coaches empowered financially, because there's so much need for coaches. More people realize that coaches can help. Many people need help. And fortunately, the majority of coaches, they have.
Yeah, you froze for.
Hello. Oh,
Yeah, so wow, quite an. So when you got into the coaching industry, was that because you were influenced by someone that was already in that field, or did you learn about that on TV and in the media? So how did you get first exposed into that industry, especially back then? It was nowhere near as big as what it is now.
no, it was not at all big.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not media or TV.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? I remember returning back to Sydney. I would come back every now and then, usually a friend's wedding or something like that. And I was at the beach at a cafe with one of my girlfriends having a walk. And one of the girls that was a waitress at the cafe, she had been at our uni, so we kind of knew her, and she was telling us what she was doing while she was waitressing. She was studying this thing called life coaching, and as soon as she said it, I really got that intuitive hit and was really intrigued. That was one of the moments. And then in London, I bumped into these people who also were doing coaching, and I learned a little bit then. And I think there was one other thing that came up about it. But when I decided I was going to do it, I really didn't know that much about it. I just was following the intuitive feeling of, I've got to give this, whatever this is, a go. And I think I'd started to read a couple of books that really impacted me in a positive way, also in the lead up as well. Things like the Louise Hay book, You Can Heal Your Life. Even before that one, there was a book called The Art of Effortless Being, which was very much an awareness on, rather than focusing on doing and having, to actually be conscious of who we're being, which is, I mean, quite interesting that was one of the first books I read, because I think it's still very relevant about being conscious of who we're being. So I actually thought when I read that book, I'm going to create t-shirts that say just be, but I didn't, but I still could. Who knows?
Should have, because back then t-shirt were not the thing, you know. You would have been 10, 15 years ahead of your time, and you would have made a killing.
I've
Damn,
had
t-shirt
many,
there.
many, many, many good ideas that I didn't actually necessarily
It's never too late.
take the whole way. Yeah, true, true.
It's never too late. It only takes one. Just
Yeah,
like the saying says, you're just one idea away, just one
yeah.
funnel away. All right, awesome. That's wonderful. So I'm sure you heard the saying, change your story, change your life. And by story, I mean the story that we keep on telling ourselves all day long in our mind. So when you had to change your story to change, either to change your life or bring you back on the right track, how did you do it? Did you do it to help our friends, relatives, mentors? So tell us the process. How did you change your story to change your life?
Yeah, this is, storytelling is something that I am just really, really appreciating more than ever now.
Hmm.
I feel that it is so profound and so important. I didn't consciously choose my story. However, what I did learn in the journey of coaching and all the different personal development courses I did, I had to learn how to really feel, really live from the heart, really. I think I at first just tried to have positive affirmations, reframe everything, but it was still very heady. I had to learn how to actually feel and actually welcome all the emotions. So even the sadness, the grief, the fear, all those things that everything has value, and to actually feel it and allow it to move through, like observe it rather than suffer it, but actually feel it. So not avoid, distract, and
Mhm.
try to not feel it, because it gets shoved down somewhere and going to come out some way. So I think that through all the process of actually learning about myself and how to actually truly love myself and truly feel and live from the heart and follow my inner wisdom and guidance, that has also been changing my story. And I don't think there was a moment specifically that I go, I just changed the story here from here to there. However, I definitely at some point it has become embodied that I do love myself and I am genuinely happy, and I really believe in everyone's magnificence, that we're all so much more capable than what we're even realizing right now. There's so much more potential. And
Absolutely.
and so yeah, but it's an ongoing practice to keep choosing the story of what's next, because
Totally.
I don't want to keep creating from what I know. I want to stay open to making, creating, reimagining what truly is the best way forward and new and better.
Hmm. Absolutely. Life is not just an adventure, but it's not just a journey, but it's an adventure. So it's more fun when you
Totally.
create something that just like you. So yeah, wonderful. Now let's talk about your business. Tell us what you do, what your business is about, and all the good stuff.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So our
Mm-hmm.
business, the Wisdom Playground, was born in 2020 thanks to the pandemic. And we have a huge vision to bring together a thriving community, family. We're calling it the Wisdom Playground Ohana, which is a Hawaiian word for family. And we really want it to be a place for good humans to embody thriving, not just survive better, but truly embody thriving. So kind of use the metaphor of, if you plant a seed in between concrete and it grows into a small plant, that's quite inspiring. When you
Mm-hmm.
plant a seed in good soil with sunlight and the right water, it flourishes into the best version of itself. And that's
Absolutely.
the environment we're creating for good humans to
Love
flourish and
that.
be the best version of themselves, to tap into the best of humanity, their inner wisdom, their inner genius, their creativity, their ability to connect and collaborate. And together we create far more than what we could alone. So that's the big vision of our Ohana. Right now, we're bringing together the wisdom teachers, which in the Hawaiian word kumu, which is coach, teacher, or guide. So we're bringing together those kumu and wisdom teachers that have fresh wisdom to uplift humanity. And these guys are incredible. So they're a
Wow.
like-hearted group. So I talk about, we're creating a like-hearted community, more so than it's like-minded to a degree, but like-hearted is the important part, because
Mm-hmm.
there's good humans that like Trump that don't like Trump. There's good humans that want to get vaccinated that don't want to get vaccinated. And there's good
Very true.
humans that like their toilet paper over and like their toilet paper under. We can all love and respect each other, however we like to do things. So,
Some people that like
so
pineapple on the pizza, some that do not like it.
yes, exactly. And we can still love each other, right?
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
so we're we're really, really fostering that of getting curious and looking through different lenses, rather than needing to not be friends because we think differently, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so the wisdom teachers, they're all incredible, accelerating personal growth, business growth in some way. We've got wisdom teachers, creativity, self-healing, conscious leadership, diversity and inclusion, mental wellness, animal communication, regenerative
Mm-hmm.
agriculture, like this huge amount of wisdom
Love that.
that is very, very powerful. So we're calling in more wisdom teachers to be part of that. We're also really passionate about supporting coaches, any coach that actually has a big heart and a calling to help them make more money. It's time. The world needs coaches. So many people need help supporting, navigating through this time.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches, it's time for coaches to be actually financially rewarded, because unfortunately, in general, the majority of coaches aren't making money. And there are ways to make that change, and we're really passionate about some of the ways we've come up with. We're also very collaborative in working with others who have that same mission as well.
Let me ask you something. You mentioned something powerful among many things. One thing that really caught my attention, you said most of the coaches are not making money. Why do you think that is the case?
Whoa, okay. So I've got a couple of theories. One of the ones that I've come up with recently is thanks to my business partner. So actually, a lot of the coaches that are coach trained have been empowered by the training, in the sense they've learned how to coach, and the skill of coaching, the great skill of actually listening, truly actively listening to people, asking empowering questions and supporting people to go from where they are to where they want to be. That skill is very empowering. Where they're being disempowered by the coach training is that there are rules that they believe they need to follow. So there are some rules to be a great coach where you don't bring yourself into the space, you let the client come up with their answers. Now, that is absolutely valuable. However, you cannot create a successful business if that's all you do. Clients actually want you to bring your whole wisdom and experience. Like, you're going to wear different hats. You're going to coach at times, the pure coaching, but a coach is someone who takes someone from where they are to where they want to be. And that may also mean you're teaching them skills, you're mentoring them, you're fast tracking them, you're kind of wearing all these other hats in addition to that amazing coach skill, to actually help them go on the journey to where they want to be. And usually they're picking you because you have experience and wisdom that can help them. Otherwise, they could just possibly get an AI coach now, right? So coaches that have training are actually not even conscious of realizing they're disempowered by the rules. And that's something we're passionate about changing, because it's pretty big. It's something that disempowered me and a couple of others I know that have had similar training. Often the coaches that are doing well haven't had the coach training, and they're not feeling any need to follow those rules.
Yes, I agree. And I just to add to that, and I have my own theory as well. But I was
Oh,
just
what's your theory?
I will give it, but before I give you that,
Okay.
just
Okay.
before this call, I was doing, on my bike run. I went for an hour and a half biking, and I listened to a couple of podcasts. One of them was about a guy that built a $65 million agency helping coaches. And one thing that he said really, you know, stood out for me. He said, if you want to be successful, it's not about, the most important thing is about empathy. And if you can describe someone's problem better than they can, then they automatically assume that you know the answer and they will trust you, they will connect. They're not going to buy from you just because you have multiple letters beside your name, MBA, whatever, just because you have a million followers on Instagram or YouTube, whatever. These are vanity metrics. They don't care about that. But if you can show them that you care, that you have empathy, and that you can describe to them their problem better than they can, then they will be, wow, okay, help me. Let's do whatever you want.
I
I'm
agree.
yours, basically. That was very
I
powerful.
agree.
But the other reason
Yeah.
I noticed from talking to a lot of coaches, and I noticed the same thing in e-commerce, is that especially for coaches, that a lot of people go into coaching. Most of the people have a good heart and they come from a good place. They want to help every. The problem is the audience is too vague. They don't know who they're trying to help. They want to help everyone with all of the problems. And mind you, while that is laudable, that is commendable, that's something that helping everyone with all the problems, that's something that only God can do. And unfortunately, me and you are not God. So instead, what that's, at least that's my opinion. We need to focus on one very specific person with one very specific pain point, and then immerse ourselves into that person, understand them as deeply as we can, so that when we craft our messaging is not going to be, is going to be in their eyes like just another marketing speech or whatever, or pitch. It's going to be more like something that is, because we understand them, we speak their language, it's going to be very magnetic. So, oh, that person understands me, that person cares. And that's what a lot of the coaches that are struggling, that I've noticed, are not doing, because they don't have they haven't identified the very specific person. They try to help everyone with all of the problems. They want to help them with the emotional aspect, their mental, the financial, I mean, that's awesome. But good luck doing that. You're not God.
Yeah.
With all respect, do you know what I mean? Focus on what you know best. Focus on the number one. Sure, if you focus on the number one, sure, there will be number two, number three, and you can use number two, number three as an upsell. But be
Mm.
known for one thing. And that's, at least that's my experience. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think that that for coaches, often we're passionate about so many things, and as like pure coaching, you can actually coach
Mhm.
on so many different things. However, what's required now is for coaches to realize they have a body of wisdom. They have
Mhm.
more than their coach training. They have a lifetime of experience
Sure.
and value to bring and create a body of wisdom. Now, many of us have a body of wisdom that's very, very broad, and that's fantastic. But to start with one thing, like you say, the thing that lights us up the most, the area that we really, really are most passionate about, and own that body of wisdom and package that in a way that helps the people really seeking that. That is, and like you say, get really clear about what is those clients, what do they really need, like show them that you care and you get it, and you can take them on this amazing journey, um, which is profound. Now, one of the other things is coaches that aren't making money are often selling sessions or blocks of sessions rather than a package. And that's
Mhm.
another area that we have come up with of helping coaches, because my business partner, she was building a tech platform for the coaching industry in 2014, and she was coming from a lens of learning and development and looking for what's the process that coaches can use with clients that really works to help in this, use this tech platform, right? And so in the process, across 3 years, she spoke with hundreds of coaches, hundreds of clients, and it created this amazing tech platform. Unfortunately, it's not happening for a few reasons, but it had a byproduct of her realizing there's some specific things that super coaches do versus everyone else,
Mhm.
specific things that these coaches do that they didn't even realize they did, that she was able to feed back to them, and they were able to do it even better once they realized what they were doing. But there's specific things to put in packages that actually are really important, and they're actually simple. Once you actually get it and know it, you can apply it to every coaching package or future coaching and training you do.
Sure.
But it's really powerful, these things that actually ensure consistent results. And I would say most coaches don't know this. No coaching training teaches this. This is information my business partner was actually accidentally able to find out.
Mhm.
But it's exciting because we feel like this is a game changer for the coaching industry once coaches know this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm.
Another thing I noticed is that you see all these ads of people saying, "I'm going to teach you how to become a six-figure coach or whatever." Now, if I'm someone looking to become a coach and I have no experience in coaching, that's going to leave me with more questions than answers, because how the hell I'm going to do that? To become successful in anything, there's so many things that you need to do. You have to, the first question that comes to mind, okay, how I'm going to do it? What do I need to master? What kind of person do I need to become? What kind of platform do I need to master? Who I'm going to serve? So again, that's a mistake. Yes, they come from a good perspective, good heart, good place. You want to help, but instead of being, that's very vague. Like for example, last year with a friend of mine, he's a seven figure seller on Amazon, and we launched an academy teaching newbies um, how to. So if you look for anything for e-commerce, there's a bunch of courses that you teach you how to sell, to make $10,000 within the first month. So while that is nice and dandy for someone that has no experience in e-commerce, making $10,000 the first month, that's next to impossible, because there's so many things they have to learn. So instead we said, instead of how can we do to really differentiate ourselves, and when someone sees our material, they're not going to be left with more question than answer. So instead we came up with, okay, for me, for some, let's put ourselves in the shoes of someone that has no experience. So if I'm looking at getting into e-commerce, what is the very basic I need to learn? So we focused on that. So we said, okay, let's teach people how to find, select, source, and launch the first product, just one product, within 90 days. So because we made it very clear, we're not going to teach you how to become to sell $10,000 within the first whatever 2 minutes, because that's not going to happen. Instead, what is the one thing that you need to master, which is finding, selecting, sourcing, and launching products within a very specific time frame, because people want to know how long it's going to take them. So what we did, we gave them something that was very quantifiable, measurable, and with an end game, with a very specific time frame. And we made it fun. We made it a challenge, a 90-day challenge. Because if you give someone a bunch of long, boring, and hour-to-hour videos, they will watch maybe an hour, but after that, good luck. And that's a stat by Tony Robbins that says 72 or 75% of people that buy books or buy courses don't even go past the first chapter. Why? Because it's boring. It doesn't matter where you're a kid, where you're a
Yeah,
teenager, where you're adults. We all want to do fun things. So the best way to
absolutely.
make it fun is not giving them a bunch of boring videos, even though the material might be good. But if it's boring, no, instead make it fun. So how we did it fun was by giving them, just like in a college program, we give them like with daily tasks, like daily tasks to do, weekly assignments to complete, monthly goals to reach with checklist. uh, Made it a competition. Like we had like a scoreboard each week. Everybody had to put their whatever they achieved, and we gave points. And the people that succeeded, that were the best, we rewarded them. How did we reward them? By inviting them on the podcast. You know, people love this competition, brings the best of people. So if you make it fun like that, make it very specific, quantifiable, measurable, end result with a specific time frame, then people will know exactly, okay, instead of, for example, teaching someone how to become a six-figure coach, why don't you focus on teaching them how to find your first paying client using the power of whatever platform you're going to focus on, whether it's going to be Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever. Focus on mastering that, get your first paying client, and once you do that, it just rinse and repeat to get your second client, third client, fourth client, and that's when you reach your goal. And that's when you reach your $10,000 a month in e-commerce. At the same principle, make it
Yeah, totally.
quantifiable, measurable, and time frame, make it fun. And that's what I feel that a lot of people are missing.
A lot of people missing, and also they're attracted by the silver bullet programs that are make seven
There's no
figures in
shortcut.
2 minutes. Yeah. So I like how you've broken it down, and the time frame is something that is very
Huge.
attractive. And yeah, totally. And the fun. I mean, we are so big on playing and having fun, and it's how we're in our highest frequency. It's where our most creativity comes. It's actually what life's about, right? That we want to have fun. We also call it unadulting, where we can
Exactly. Especially nowadays when the average attention span of adults is that of a goldfish, or 7 seconds, you know.
right.
Good
Well,
luck
that's
trying
because
to.
everyone's bombarded by so much information, right? So
I
it's
know.
yeah.
That's why it's
Yeah,
even more important to make it fun, to make it engaging, to make it interactive, to make it as
very
basically as
much.
fun and as clear as possible. So I hope someone
100%.
is gonna listen, is gonna not only listen to that, but actually implement those, because once they do, then it's gonna see completely different results.
Absolutely. It's gold in what you just shared. If like you take those things and apply it, it's a game changer.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Speaking of that, that's a perfect segue. Who would you say is your ideal client for your business?
For our business right now, the Wisdom
Hmm.
Playground is the coaches, healers, practitioners, conscious entrepreneurs that have some sort of fresh wisdom that uplifts humanity. So they're helping accelerate personal growth or business growth, and they have something that they're heart centered. They like to do things in new and different ways. So if they've been in business and really kind of stuck in the way they've always done it, they're not for us. The people that actually really open to being playful and creative and doing things in new and different ways, they're the type of people we're really calling in right now.
Amazing. Awesome.
Mm.
Now, tell us more about the structure of your program, of your coaching program. How does it work? Is it like a one-on-one? Is it like a group coaching, small classes, big classes? Tell us about the
Yeah.
structure, and
Okay.
is there a duration, like 30 days, 60 and 90 days for someone that gets in? How long is it going to take them for them to start seeing some measurable, quantifiable results?
Yeah. So we have a couple of things. So one thing, we have a program that's about to start for creating coaching packages that get consistent results. So that's a sort of a 1 month program
Mhm.
where it's a 4-hour masterclass with a month of implementation support. So that's a specific kind of target outcome of coaching packages based on the research that Gabby did. But in terms of our general Kumu, the wisdom teachers of the Wisdom Playground, it's an ongoing, I loosely call it a mastermind or incubator for them to be part of our vision. They are expanding their business results right now by being part of they come to a weekly, we call all our events parties. So we have weekly
Love that.
parties. And
That's a fun group to be
those,
in. Wow.
yeah, it is. It's an amazing group, and it's a group party. And they also get some monthly coaching with me. But the group parties are themed around different aspects of exploring human potential, business potential, wisdom potential, and all aspects of that, from connected marketing to flowing prosperity to all sorts of shared genius, collaboration opportunities. Like there's a bunch of stuff that we do. We also focus on our living business matrix, which is a different kind of business model where we're exploring business where energy really matters, and prioritizing our energy is important.
Mhm. I love that. Now, tell
Mm.
us an example of the most, remarkable transformation you've seen from someone going through your program so far?
Okay. One that jumps to mind is an incredible woman who's been a healer for many, 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 many years. Very powerful, very just incredible. Prior to working to us, she had wanted to do more marketing. She joined a mastermind and they were telling her, you should do this, do this, do this. And she was trying to do it. But in the process, she was losing confidence, losing self-esteem, because what they were telling her to do was not the right fit for her. She came to play with us, and we found out that what energized her, she actually really loves doing Clubhouse, and she's really good at it. Her voice is beautiful. The way she contributes is beautiful. People really resonate with her. And she's now got a thriving business. She feels amazing. She's doing what lights her up.
Beautiful.
And she's got an incredible business now. So that's one of the ones that I would say.
That's amazing. Are you on Clubhouse?
I am. I haven't been on lately, but yes, I am.
That's awesome. That's something I still need to get into. Okay. All right. I have an account, but I honestly haven't used it, but I need to get onto it.
There's so many amazing platforms, and it's really a matter of what is the most fun for us, right? Because I kind of thought, oh, I'd love to do TikTok. I love the idea of 1-minute videos, but I just haven't done it. But the audio Clubhouse is really, I've enjoyed. I haven't done it lately, but I find it really quite interesting. There's some incredible people on Clubhouse to connect with.
Absolutely.
But then there's all these other platforms now doing a similar thing, right? So Green Room and Facebook and LinkedIn and so
I guess it depends. It comes down to, coming back first full circle, is because it all comes down to identifying a very specific person and then finding out where they hang out and then spend our time there. Because if our audience, our ideal avatar is going to be, say, on Facebook or LinkedIn, then the return is going to be very minimal if we focus on other. I'm not saying the other platform not going to help, but we need to focus on where they hang out the most.
100%. I agree completely. We can't do all the things. We have to do.
I wish, and I'm sure you're the same. I wish I had 85 hours a day, but or I can clone myself, but we're not there yet. We might get there in a few generations, but for now we're not. So
yeah, totally.
Anyways,
100.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Let's switch gears now to talking about impact and cause. That's something that we're both extremely passionate, and this is the theme of this podcast, Leader with a Heart, where people are incredible human beings and entrepreneurs are building impactful business. Like for me, for example, I'm in e-commerce. I'm going to be launching a product on Kickstarter soon, and for each unit I sell, I will be donating a pair of eyeglasses to someone in need that need them but can't afford them in India. So for you, Deb, what would you say is a cause that you're very passionate about?
Yeah, well, I'm very passionate about all things that are uplifting humanity. I'm kind of someone that has not been a fan of fighting against things. That I much great gratitude for those who do that. That's their calling. For me, it's really focusing on what we want to see more of, and have been involved in all sorts of projects for many, many years now. I was even speaking today on a social impact call about, in 2008, I think it was, I went to India to see what the Hunger Project are doing there, and they are empowering women to that have gotten voted into being leaders of their community. And I just learned so much about ensuring the giving that we do is effective, where it's empowering for people to empower themselves. It's not so much, as you've said to me before this, like, it's not that useful to just give money or donate. That doesn't always really lead to the most effective outcome or impact. But I'm very interested in social entrepreneurs, very interested in shining a light on that. And I do that in our Facebook Lives. We do in our group conversations and collaborations for our best possible future, always shining a light on things that are uplifting humanity. All our wisdom teachers are making a positive contribution, and it's exciting to think about the ripple effect of that. Our big vision of our community also has different projects that I feel will also be continually to do social impact, additional for people that learn something, say, for example, the creativity that will then also be able to fund other people who maybe can't afford to do it, to be also able to learn it, things like that. So we have a lot of things that are in lots of different realms that we're passionate about. And everything is all about humans tapping
Absolutely.
into their greatness and remembering that we all are amazing and we all have gifts and talents to bring and potential to explore. And together, we actually need to come together to actually really create our best possible future, the one our hearts really want, not the one that the media is saying is happening.
Absolutely. I preach. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Wow. I love this community. I'm very excited to learn more about your community, especially the Wisdom Playground. I'm gonna
Thank
be
you.
definitely checking it out, and I will become one of the biggest advocates for what you're doing, because we need more of people like you too. That it's all about uplifting each other, and our vision is very similar, because I do something similar, which is my goal is ultimate goal is to not to launch products, not to talk to incredible people. Yes, these are all fun, but it's all about the impact. And my impact ultimate not only is to help people, give them a gift of eyesight, but the ultimate goal is to inspire other entrepreneurs to do good, because it's only me, one person, and me, I cannot do it by myself. So, but if I can, me and you talking, we can inspire just one other person, and that person goes on to help another, and so on and so forth. Together, we can create a ripple effect, an unstoppable, invincible global force that's gonna really make big changes, and that's what it's all about. So it doesn't matter if you're just one person starting with only maybe one person watching you. It doesn't matter, because all it takes is just one. You know, incredible
I feel it's
movements have been
happening.
started. Incredible movements have been started with just one person was courageous enough, strong enough, and didn't give up. And yeah, just look at, for example, the greatest example in history, Gandhi, for example. Just
Yeah.
one little tiny little man against the mightiest empire in the world at the time, probably the mightiest empire of all time. And look at what he did.
Yeah.
Just one
It's
person. It's all about inspiring.
it's so true. And the thing to know is as well, there is great things happening. There is so many, even if you don't have your own project you want to start, there's so many great projects you can actually go and contribute to and be part of, because we all need support and it's not about doing it ourselves. So if you have an amazing idea and calling to do it yourself and lead that, fantastic. But even those of us that maybe don't have that one great thing to lead, you can still be a leader and contribute to other things that are aligned.
You know, it might sound might sound crazy to some, but there's a saying that says it's during the greatest times of crisis that the greatest changes and the greatest movements are started. Like, look at, for example, this pandemic. It's been horrible, affected a lot of people worldwide. Economies around the world crashed. How many millions of people affected? People died, all that. But there's always a blessing in disguise if you look at the positive of that. And this, whatever happens, is it all comes down to the power of asking the right question. That's something that Tony Robbins always says. Don't complain as to why it's happening. Ask yourself, what is a lesson to be learned here? What is this trying to teach me? And at the global at the worldwide scale, yes, it's been a horrible time, probably horrible, most horrible times for the past God knows how many decades. But I see around me, and I'm the first one to be an example of that, a spiritual awakening. More and more people coming, despite all this negativity around us, coming together. You see all these communities on the web just mushrooming, people doing amazing things that didn't exist 2 3 years ago, you know
Mm.
but
Oh,
now we're seeing it all around the world. For example, I never was religious or spiritual, but since the start of this pandemic, I've had a spiritual awakening, and that was the spiritual awakening has allowed me on a personal level to overcome a very difficult time, which was the passing of my father just a month ago. And that was allowed me, because without this, I don't know how I would have handled it. But this was allowed me to say, hey, this life is only just what do you call it? Just a phase in our growth and our involvement. Just like when we die, it's not over. It's not game over. There's another chapter that starts after. I mean, even the labeling it dying, I feel it's not the right term. It
Yeah.
just moving on to the next level. Just like at night, we are tired, we sleep. We have, as we call in French, a small death. You go away. The morning you wake up, brand new day, fresh. Same thing in this life. We have one lifetime. When our time is over, we retire. We basically take off our clothes, meaning our vehicle, our body, and then we wake up, so to speak, in a new, fresh clothes, new body, and new adventure starts. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And on top of that, I really,
Yeah. And we're
I
here
re-
to experience and do that. Yeah.
this planet is a school. It's all about experiencing, learning. I was having this conversation last night with an amazing woman. Said, listen, we're talking actually about food, and I said, listen, life is just like the most amazing, magnificent buffet there is, and it's all about trying a little bit of everything. It would be a shame if you just tried only one dish, no matter how amazing that dish is. And that's why I worked in many. I tried to accumulate as many experiences as possible. I did 10 years of corporate in Canada. I did. I lived the location independent lifestyle with my laptop, traveling around the world. I worked in the oil fields in Western Canada at -40, -50. I worked as a football coach in China. I worked
So
as
cool.
e-commerce guy traveling, and now I'm doing this. So again, it's all about experiencing, trying new
Yeah.
things. Because if I had
Totally.
stuck only in one in corporate, life would have been pretty damn boring. I
Oh,
wouldn't have learned
absolutely.
I wouldn't have learned all the lessons I'm learning now.
Yes, absolutely. It's so there's so much juice to be enjoyed, and I think it's partly transcending judgment, letting go of the judgment, and actually just enjoying the experience for what it is. And like you say, looking for what it's teaching us. Everything is happening for us, and there's so much juiciness
Absolutely.
to enjoy.
Absolutely. Now,
Yeah.
speaking of that, we all have a mission to be here. Actually, I read a quote about a year ago that always remained on my mind. It said, the two most important dates in our lives are one, when we are born, and two, when we realize why we are here. And when we do realize why we are here, we become a totally different person. So for you, Deb, what would you say is your mission, a purpose in this lifetime, in this planet?
I actually feel it's about experiencing as much joy as possible
Hmm.
and spreading that. Like, I have this big picture vision of spreading joy and kindness like a contagious disease across the planet.
Hmm.
And so that's fun to me, that idea.
I love that. Yeah. Wow. How do you want to be remembered?
How do I want to be remembered? Um, it would be nice to be remembered in a way that reminds everyone that all is well and go for it. Like, just enjoy that juiciness and just let go of judgment and really get amongst it.
Absolutely. And what would you say is your definition of greatness?
Hmm. Definition of greatness. Wow. Um, it's perhaps really remembering who we are. We are all so great. Like,
Hmm.
when we can actually tap into that phenomenal, infinite potential in every moment is available to us. So,
Absolutely.
even taking a breath and connecting with that, that is greatness.
Absolutely. And we have to be grateful for every breath, every morning that we have. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So wow, that's amazing. Now, one question I love asking people is, what would you say is the smallest thing you've done that has had the biggest impact in both your life and business so far? And I will tell you mine after.
Okay. Smallest thing I've done that's had the greatest impact. Wow, you've got some great questions, Payman.
Thank you.
I'm usually on the other side. I'm like very comfortable asking the questions. So thank you for these. It's like,
Very welcome.
it's a smallest thing I've done, greatest impact. Um,
Greatest positive impact.
yeah, it's interesting what our definition of small is, right? Because I'm gonna
You
go with moving from the head to the heart. Taking a breath
wow.
is it's like it's a simple thing we can do any moment. It's just to focus on our heart and take a breath. It's just quite a small thing, but every time we do that, it's a great impact. So yeah,
I love that. That's amazing.
what's
I
yours?
couldn't. Mine is honestly for me, the smallest thing that I've done that has had the biggest impact on my life so far has been starting this podcast because that has been the vehicle that has connected me with tremendous, not only successful business people, but most importantly, incredible human being like you, for example. Like I've been blessed so far to have 70 people on my podcast so far, and honestly, honest to God, 100% of them have been nothing short of extraordinary, absolutely fantastic people. And actually I would love to write a book, even maybe make a documentary of all that, but I might do that maybe next year once I have over maybe 200 people on my podcast. I will be blown away, even make like a documentary and like a Netflix series of all this amazing, I would love to then all these
Ah,
amazing people, showcasing them, because just like you, it's all about lifting people, not only to lift them to share their story, that's nice and cool. But what is the purpose of that? It's to inspire others that, hey, yes, you understand we all need to make money, but let's make money in a way that's meaningful, impactful. Not only because of that, but because one thing I noticed living in all these countries around the world is that, you know, one thing that especially us in the Western world that we lack is a purpose. We chase money, we chase material things, whatever it is, whether it's an extra digit in your bank account, a bigger house, a bigger car, the latest phone. Once you get it, just like any other toy, you get excited for 1 week, 2 weeks, but after 2 weeks, you're gonna toss it away. You're gonna feel, okay, what's next? Is there all there is to it? You're gonna be back in the grind trying to look for the next thrill. And that's not fun. It might be fun for a while, but you get tired of it. But instead, if you're focusing on serving, on helping, on impact, you will be a different person. You won't need you know an alarm clock in the morning. You will be jolting out of bed like a rocket. You can work 80 hours a week, no problem. While at the same time you might be feeling that you're living in a hell, working 30 hours, 40 hours in a job that you can't stand. But instead, when you're working on something that you're really passionate about, 100 hours a week, bring it on. You know,
mm,
it's all about
it's
purpose.
very
Because
yeah.
when you
There's
combine, if you follow only profit, it's very easy to get burned down. But if you add profit and purpose, then you become unstoppable. Sorry, purpose and profit. First, you focus on the purpose, just like I shared with you earlier. If you focus on the impact and not the monetary side of it, the money is going to take care of itself. You don't even have to worry. It's going to be an automatic, natural, organic byproduct of it. Because just like I told you, for my e-commerce, for my crowdfunding, my goal is not to raise 100,000, 200,000, whatever amount of money. My goal is to give a pair of eyeglasses to 5,000 people that
yeah,
need
it's a
it.
great goal.
And if I were to reach that, that's going to be by default $1 million campaign. That's how I see it. And when you say it that way,
Beautiful.
everything changes.
Everything changes, and it's so true what you say about doing the podcast, and it's so enriching to connect heart to heart, and this is what life's about, and why it's so I'm so grateful to Zoom and in the internet for us to be able to
Mhm.
connect globally so easily 24/7. There are people, the awesome people to connect with, like it's incredible. And then to come together and do things like you say, where it actually is creating a really inspiring impact, that's just
These
wow.
podcasts have become my favorite time of the day because I get to connect and have heart to heart, deep conversation with, yeah, they might be complete strangers, but at the end of the day, we're all like minded people around the world. And I found that completely fascinating. I could do that every day, 24/7, because I love it. It's
Yeah,
the most amazing thing there is because, you connect, because learning is a never ending journey. There's a saying that says that real learning starts the moment you finish
yeah,
school, which is so true. and each day I learn
Yes,
new
so true.
things from amazing people, such as you, such as other people that have my podcast. And so, anyways, for me, the
Thank
single
you
biggest,
so much for having me.
it's
Thank
my
you.
pleasure. So for me, again, the smallest thing that I've done, and I should have done that 10 years ago, and that has had the biggest impact, has been starting this podcast. And I urge everyone listening right now, don't be shy. Start your podcast. Even video is better than audio, because it's all about connecting, relating, seeing someone. Because again, doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. At the end of the day, we all in people's business, and people
That's
love doing business
right.
with people. They care, they can connect, they can relate. And what best way to relate than face-to-face conversation? Until the world reopens again, we can have these meetings. But even then, why limit yourself just to your physical location? Do it worldwide, and eventually, maybe in a few generations, do it intergalactic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the next step.
absolutely.
Oh, tomorrow I have a podcast with whatever from Andromeda. That would be amazing. You know what I mean?
Bring it on.
Absolutely,
Awesome. Yay.
absolutely. Love these
Cool.
conversations. We can talk for hours and hours, but we'll
Yeah.
we'll have to wrap it up. So I'm gonna ask you a couple of fun questions now. So imagine that you had a time machine and you could sit face to face with your 18-year-old self. What would be the first piece of advice you would give to your 18-year-old self, knowing all that you know now?
To be kind to myself, love myself, don't beat myself up. Like, just stop that negative self talk and go for
Yes.
it.
Patient and negative, yes.
I was quite mean to myself growing up. It took, and that's probably what led me to life coaching, to learn how to, stop that at what it was, very negative.
Do you think it was
So,
meant to be for you to be mean to yourself so you can get into that to get to where you were meant to be, to were destined to
absolutely,
be?
there's no mistakes, no
Everything happens
mistakes.
for a reason. You
Yeah,
might have an accident or something painful happens to you. Instead of dwelling and feeling sad and sorry, we need to ask ourselves, why is this happening? What is the lesson? What is the universe trying to teach me here?
yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Now, do you have your own podcast?
Well, I did a podcast 2015, which was Loving Life Radio, and the idea was just 2-minute segments. Back then, I was
Hmm,
like, I only like listening to short things, and anyway, that was then. And I've done a couple of different online radio
hmm,
shows, but right now, what I'm doing is Facebook Lives into our group, Conversations and Collaborations for Our Best Possible Future. I'm
hmm.
also putting them up onto YouTube, and I intend to make a podcast called Our Best Possible Future, which is from those
Amazing.
conversations. So it's in process. Technically, it's sort of half the podcast. It's
All
not
right. I
quite
will share
technically
with
one.
you. I will share with you after this an incredible story of a man that built an 8-figure business with zero ad spent using only the power of podcasting. I will share it to
Mm,
you after this call. But anyway, so listen, let's imagine that you have your very own podcast today, very successful, and today you have the most special person in the world as your guest, which is yourself. So you're interviewing yourself. What would be the first question you want to ask yourself? But I don't want you to think too much. What is the first one that comes to your mind?
First question I'd ask myself,
Don't
gosh,
think too much, and don't
well,
hold anything back.
the question I ask on my our best possible future is, how do we co-create our best possible future?
Mhm.
That is a question I ask. I would ask myself that. I would also perhaps ask, what is one of the best questions you've been asked?
I
Today
see.
you've asked me quite a few of those. I'm actually intrigued to listen back and go, what was that question? What did I say? That'd be interesting.
Well, that's why I asked if you want to record it.
Yeah,
You know. But
yeah.
anyway, that's awesome. All right, cool. Now, one last question. That is a bit personal. Do you have any tips for me to improve my podcast in any way, shape, or form? Give me
Oh,
some tough
wow.
love.
Tough love.
Yeah, don't hold back.
Hmm. Hmm. Can I ponder that and come back to you with actually some thoughtfulness around that? Because I'm
Absolutely,
very happy to think about that.
I appreciate that.
And
All
I
right.
really honor you for kind of being open to, like, that's the best thing, isn't it, when we can continue to grow and evolve and be better. So
Exactly.
well done you for asking.
Absolutely. As I said, learning is all about, it's an ongoing process. And the best thing we can do is put our ego to the side. Even though this will be my 70th podcast episode, the old version of me might have said, well, listen, you don't need to ask that question. You already know that. But no, there's always something that we can learn. You know,
Mm,
our best friend, and at the same time, our worst enemy is right here, our ego.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So that's amazing. Do you have any parting tips for anyone listening right now?
Oh, parting tip would be connect in with these amazing learning communities that are popping up everywhere right now, with inspiring
Hmm.
conscious humans that are actually raising consciousness and doing incredible things to impact the planet. Connect in. If you resonate with anything I said, reach out, let's connect. Would love to add value to you, and see you bring out your gifts and talents and share with the world. Like, everyone has gifts and talents, so allow yourself to tap into them and share them.
Fantastic, and you made a perfect segue. So, what's the best way to connect with you if someone wants to reach out to you?
Yes, so we're thewisdomplayground.com,
Hmm.
thewisdomplayground.com, and we are on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, all the socials pretty much.
Hmm.
Our Facebook group is Conversations and Collaborations for Our Best Possible Future. And yeah, I would love to connect. I'm Deb King, and be fantastic to meet
Awesome.
anyone that's connected to this type of conversation of impact in the way that you share it, Payman. Very, very cool.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much. I love that. I'll definitely put all of these in the show notes. Listen, Deb, we can talk for hours, and we've been talking for 2 hours now.
I know.
Uh, Especially, I can't wait till we can actually meet, and I'm sure we would have some amazing stories, and I have the same amazing stories from our traveling and all that. So but yeah, so we're gonna call this a day for now. I salute you. You're a true leader with a heart. You're a true enlightened soul. Keep shining your light. You're doing God's work on this planet, and keep wearing proudly your beautiful, warm, contagious smile. And yeah, so I'm beyond honored to be connecting with you. Absolutely humbled. That's one of the benefits, the consequences of me starting this podcast. Again, this has been by far the best thing I've done in the past few years, starting this podcast. It's to be able to connect with this, and also to that's what's going to allow me to bring my vision to reality and share it with other like-minded. I cannot do it by myself, but together. Again, that's part of my branding. 1 plus 1 is not two, but 11. Because when you bring together people, it exponentially explodes. So
Mm,
let's do that. Thank you.
thank
Stay safe.
you.
Keep shining your light. God bless, and we'll talk soon. Thank you, my friend. Take care.
Yes, thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.